And now, please welcome tonight's Mistress of Ceremonies, Rennell Brooks, Moon, and Wendy Tokuda.
Tonight is a celebration of women who are leaders and role models, and women who have struggled through adversity and overcome so many obstacles to find their voices and their purpose. And through telling their stories, they have helped others find the strength to change.
All around the room, you see these banners with pictures. And these are just some of the people. They show some of the people we are honoring tonight. Jan, in her typical Japanese-American way, didn't want to be the only woman honored. And she asked that all of the sponsors choose someone to honor. And some of those posters are here around the room, and we'll be hearing their stories tonight.
When I joined Glide 7 months ago, I knew that I wasn't just accepting a job. I was moving into a place where I would have to make complete changes in my life. It's been a privilege and a joy to work with Reverend Cecil Williams and Janice Mirkatani, our founders, and I'm so proud that we're honoring Janice tonight. Her vision continues to inspire our staff every day. They are a talented group. They put their hearts to work every day of the week and make magic happen weekly. Our work and this wonderful celebration would not be possible without your support. We thank our honorary committee members, the event planning committee, our board of directors, and all the volunteers and staff who work so hard for this evening's success. Thank you to our voice sponsors, Richard Blum, Chris Gardner, the Alexander M. and June L. Mason Foundation, and the Irene S. Scully Foundation for their ongoing dedicated support of Glide. And we thank all of our sponsors and all of you tonight for your generous support. Your names will appear on the screen this evening. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow, isn't this an amazing gathering? And I am especially honored to be here because we are honoring Jan Mirkatani. And let me say that I'm going to introduce the wonderful slide presentation you are about to see. But first I want to say that communities of struggle for racial and gender and sexual and economic equality, both here in the Bay Area and throughout the country, whether they acknowledge it or not, bear the imprint of the dedication to social justice that Jan, Cecil, and the Glide community have maintained over the decades. Glide has lent its material and spiritual support to every major progressive movement of the 20th and 21st centuries. And I should say that I am especially indebted to Glide for its support many years ago when I was fighting for my right to teach and indeed for my life. My mother, Sally Bell Davis, who passed away a few weeks ago, never tired of praising the Glide community. Her activist career began in the late 1930s when she was involved in the campaign to free the Scottsboro Nine in Alabama. Like the women whose voices are being celebrated tonight, she forged a life of struggle for social justice. And so I want to pay special tribute to my mother as I pay tribute to Janice Mirkatani, whose powerful voice as an advocate for social justice has never been silenced. So please join me in applauding Jan's work and the work of all of the women who are being honored by the generous sponsors and supporters of GLIDE, whom you will see in the upcoming slide presentation. Thank you very much.
I steal, cheat, and drink. Lie to protect a friend. Steal the heart of the one you love, as Cecil has done with you. Cheat the grim reaper so you can drink forever at Moe's Kitchen. Congratulations to Jan.
Good evening, everybody. Are you ready, choir? All right. I'm just sitting down again to
We're getting ready to bring the spokesperson in at this particular point. And she likes short introductions. And I like giving short introductions. Maya Angelou has just been informed that after winning 4 awards, major awards, that she's been informed that there's a 4th one that may be hers also. It has to do with the measure of the life of this woman. She's been doing it for a mighty long time. She has touched the lives of people in most countries, in most continents, and in most areas, letting them know that the word has a message to give to all people. And she does it with her writing, with her poetry, with the drama, with her commitment. Maya Angelou is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the most important persons in the 20th and the 21st century. May I bring to you now our own Maya Angelou.
You may talk about your men of Gideon. You may talk about your women of song. But there's none like good old Joshua and the Battle of Jericho. Up to the walls of Jericho. Janice Midikitani marched with the battle in her hand. She said, blow the ram horns because the battle is in my hand. Janice Midikitani, Cecil Williams, Glide Memorial Choir, all the members and friends, you continue to insist that the walls keep tumbling down. It's amazing that indeed the walls of ignorance, the walls of racism and sexism and ageism tumble down. It takes a lot of courage to be able to do that time after time. You can be brave occasionally and wise occasionally, and every once in a while. You can be erratically kind and generous and true and loving, but to be that thing time after time, to be that thing 40 years is no play matter. Well, as we know, courage is the most important of all the virtues, because without courage, you can't practice any other virtue consistently. You can be anything erratically, but to be that thing, to be in the Tenderloin of San Francisco, and to decide I'm going to practice what I preach consistently. I'm going to insist that human beings are more alike than we are unalike. Consistently. I'm going to practice that we are black and white and brown and beige and red and yellow and pink. And we are gay and straight and fat and thin and pretty and plain. I'm going to practice it. Consistently, whether my job depends upon it or not. Yes, consistent. It is amazing to have enough courage to come into San Francisco, to come into Glide 50 years ago, 40 years ago for Janice Midikitani, a pretty slim, really wiry Japanese woman with the, having come out of a concentration camp and to decide, I belong here. Now that takes courage. I knew her then. It is one thing to say one knows a person, and what you really mean is I know about her, or I know about him. Janice Midikitani, I know her. I knew her then. And I thought, this little girl, she's sweet and cute. She's smart, but can she stand it? What she has proven is not only could she stand it, but she can ask, can you stand it? Amazing. It's no small matter to yourself have been the result of sexual incestuous abuse. It's no small matter to be not a member of the larger ruling class. No small matter to be female in a country where male rules, and in a country where white means might and right. And to continue to say, no, I mean yes to what I mean yes. No, I will not be ignored. No, I will not be mistreated. No, I will not be cast off. No, I will not be found in the gutter. No, not only will I stand, I'm going to get people who are in the gutter to stand with me. No. Some years ago, I spoke in Wales, and it was well received. And so I was asked the next year, would I like to suggest an American poet, not a white American poet, and could I think of another American poet, not black, who might come to Wales? I said yes, Janice Midikitani. Midikitani came, and the host saw her and said, oh, she's pretty. I said, and so she'll go on before the Scott poet will go on. I said, you make a mistake. You make a terrible mistake. Don't let anybody have to follow Midikitani. What she brings is a history of being courageous and realizing that all human beings are more alike than we are unalike. If you think that because she's here in Wales that she's going to be weak just because she's slim and little and cute and Japanese, you make a mistake. The people did not believe me, much to their chagrin. That night, those people invited Midikitani to speak, and she took it out. She took it out. as they say in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, where I live, she threw it in the street. Yes, she did. She threw it in the street. And the people were up on their feet and finally on their knees. And then when she finished, she walked off with that, coolness. Well, I hope that's okay. And they brought on the next poet, and I said, please, at least stay in, because the people started getting up. They got their Kleenex, they got their purses, and left. Now, it is a wise thing to know where you are and who you are. And if you admit to yourself that you've made the commitment to bring the walls of Jericho down, if you say so, you have to know you mean it. And if you mean it, stick it. Stick with it. No matter what anybody else says, you have to say stick with it. Because what I see with Glide, and I see with Cecil, and I see certainly with Janice, and with all of us who are Gladians, what I see is we will always be asked. Don't expect that you'll be relieved of a chance to get out. You will be asked, do you really mean it? Do you mean that homo sum humane nihil me alienum puto, I am a human being, nothing human can be alien to me? Do you really mean it? The statement was made by Terence, and when you look in your encyclopedia, you will see in italics Terence with one R, but in italics Terentius Afer. He was an African, a slave. He was sold to a Roman senator. He was freed by that senator. He became the most popular playwright in Rome. 5 of his plays and that one statement have come down to us from 154 BC. This man, not born white or free, or with any chance of ever achieving citizenship in the Rome of his day, said, I am a human being. Nothing human can be alien to me. It's an incredible statement. It is incredible. If you can internalize a piece of that, it means that no matter how heinous a crime committed by a human being, you can never say, I could never do that. What you have to say is, I have within me all the components that are in that person. I pray and mean to use my energies constructively as opposed to destructively. But if a human being did it, I have within me the possibility of doing it. Now, if you can do that about the negative, look at what you can do about the positive. My God. If a human being dreams a great dream, dares to love somebody, dares to have the unmitigated gall to accept love in return, if a human being dares to revive San Francisco's Tenderloin area, if a human being dares to raise enough money to feed thousands of people in one day, if a human being dares to have enough courage to enliven spirits and that may be exactly what we want enlivened, then it means that you have it. You have the possibility, the probability of doing that and being that. So when I was asked if I would come and talk about Janice Minikitani, the poet, the woman, the citizen, a sister, I couldn't say no. So I've come on my bus from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Yes. Just to have a few minutes. I know that I'm not spending a long time. I did want to say one poem to you. I want to say one poem, and it's to you, to the choir, which this is my choir. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. I even see some new faces. New faces know you're mine. I just need to include us all in this world we have created. I don't talk politics, I live politics. I don't talk love, I live it. It's not something I fall in. But I would encourage us all to see ourselves at this time in our lives. See ourselves, have enough courage to look into our mirrors and into ourselves and see us and see what we need to do. And in order to do what we need to do, let us see what we need to be. Courageous. There's a little child, a toddler, mumbling around in front. She is all we have. All. We have nobody better. I see another small person also mumbling around, one sitting. They are all we have. And we have them to answer to. I am sorry. I apologize for not having done more. I am sorry that we are leaving you a world full of bloodthirst, bloodlust, hate, racism, sexism, all the ignorance. I'm sorry. But this is their world, you know. And when we see them, we have to have enough courage to see them and say, this is your world, baby. So in this time, when we see ourselves and see who we really mean to be and need to be, let us know that we've already been paid for. Whether our ancestors came from Eastern Europe, trying to escape the pogroms, the little and large murders, arriving at Ellis Island, having their names changed to something utterly unpronounceable, or if the ancestors came from Asia, unable legally to bring their mates for decades, coming to build this country, to build the railroads, unable to legally own property in this country they were building. If the ancestors came from Europe, anywhere in Europe, from South America, Mexico, the islands, if the ancestors came from Africa, unwillingly, lying spoon fashion, back to belly in the filthy hatches of slave ships, and in their own and in each other's excrement and urine and menstrual flow. They have paid for each of us already. All we really have to do is prepare ourselves to admit that we will pay for those who are yet to come. This, I know that we're going to hear some more from the choir, or else I will leave. But I want to read this poem to you because I created this poem for San Francisco. After I had written the inaugural poem for Mr. Clinton's inauguration, United Nations, wait, please. United Nations approached me and asked if I would write a poem for United Nations for the celebration of the 50th anniversary of the founding of United Nations. I said yes. Thank you. I always say yes to the good thing. And then I go straight away to the library and to all smart people and to some children and ask, what do you think? And then I pray a lot. I remembered when United Nations was being formed in San Francisco, only a few blocks from here. I read in the San Francisco Chronicle, San Francisco Examiner, and the Call Bulletin that the simultaneous translators were being paid the unheard of amount of $150 a week to work at United Nations. I knew I had a penchant for languages. I could speak languages. And so I thought, you know, if I wasn't, I would go down to where they were meeting and look, and I would think, if I wasn't black and female and 6 foot tall and 16 years old and pregnant and unmarried, I could go into that building. I would watch Mrs. Eleanor Roosevelt and her friend, the black educator, Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. I would watch them going into the building. And I cried. I'd stand outside and cry copiously, just thinking, Lord. Now imagine, 50 years later, for me to be asked to write a poem for the world and come to San Francisco and deliver it in the area of the place where the heads of state were meeting. I realized then that the 19th century slave song was absolutely on time. When it looked like the sun wasn't gonna shine anymore, God put a rainbow in the clouds. And I thought about that, and I know that was inspired by a statement in Genesis that rain had persisted so unrelentingly, people thought it would never cease. So God put a rainbow in the sky. That's according to Genesis. But in the 19th century, some African American poet, probably a woman, I'm not sure about that, said God put the rainbow in the clouds, not just in the sky. We know that suns and moons and stars and all sorts of illuminations, novae, and are always in the firmament. But clouds can so lower and lower that you can't see the light. But if the light is put right into the clouds, there's a possibility of seeing hope. That's what glide is. That's what Cecil Williams is. That's what Janice Mitty Kintani is. That's what you are. Rainbows in the clouds. Here's a poem. And I'm giving this to the church to be put on the website so that you all have it. We, this people on a small and lonely planet, traveling through casual space, past aloof stars, across the way of indifferent suns, to a destination where all signs tell us it is possible and imperative that we learn a brave and startling truth. And when we come to it, to the day of peacemaking, when we release our fingers from fists of hostility, when the curtain falls on the minstrel show of hate and faces sooted with scorn are scrubbed clean, when battlefields and coliseum no longer rake our sons and daughters up from the bruised and bloody grass to lay them in identical plots in foreign soil, when the rapacious storming of the churches, the screaming racket in the temples have ceased, when we come to it, when we let the rifles fall from our shoulders and our children can dress their dolls in flags of truce, when landmines of death have been removed and our aged can walk into their evenings of peace, when religious ritual is no longer perfumed by the incense of burning flesh and childhood dreams are not kicked awake by nightmares of sexual abuse. When we come to it, then we will confess that not the pyramids with their stones set in mysterious perfection, nor the gardens of Babylon hanging as eternal beauty in our collective memory, not the Grand Canyon kindled into delicious color by western sunsets, nor the Danube flowing its blue soul into Europe, not the sacred peak of Mount Fuji stretching to the rising sun, nor Father Amazon or Mother Mississippi, who without favor nurture all creatures on their shores and in their depths. Those are not the only wonders of the world. When we come to it, we, this people, on this minuscule globe, who reach daily for the bomb, the blade, the dagger, yet who petition in the dark for tokens of peace. We, this people on this mote of matter, in whose mouths abide cankerous words, which challenge our very existence, yet out of those same mouths can come songs of such sweetness, exquisite sweetness, that the heart falters in its labor, and the body is quieted into awe. We, this people on this small and drifting planet, whose hands can strike with such abandon that in a twinkling life is sapped from the living, yet those same hands can touch with such healing, irresistible tenderness that the haughty back is happy to bow and the proud neck is glad to bend. Out of such chaos, of such contradiction, we learn we're neither devils nor divines. When we come to it, we, this people, on this wavered floating body, created on this earth, of this earth, have the power to fashion for this earth a climate where every man and every woman can live freely without sanctimonious piety, without crippling fear. When we come to it, we must confess that we are the possible, we are the miraculous, we are the true wonder of this world. That is when, and only when it looked like the sun wasn't gonna shine anymore, we have somebody, we are somebody who can be a rainbow in somebody's cloud. Thank you.
And now let us honor, I want to say it like Dr. Angelou said, Janice Midikitani. Jan has always connected the many aspects of her life as a poet, a community organizer, an activist, freedom fighter, and of course, co-founder of Glide Programs. Jan's poetry is inspired by and informed by the lives of the people with whom she interacts on a daily basis, by her pursuit of justice, and of course by her passion, which we all feel when we're around her passion to give light and to give voice to those who are forgotten, neglected, underserved. Jan's work, as many of you know, was recognized by Mayor Willie Brown, who appointed her as San Francisco's second poet laureate. You may applaud, of course. And at Glide, Janice has developed a magical creative process with the people for whom Glide serves. Program after program has been built as a dance with the people and always led by the needs of the people, by our Janice.
Janice's focus has always been on the tenderloin and the community. She has fought for women, for children, for the invisible, for the people with no voice. We pay tribute to Janice Midikitani tonight in this segment of the program, and we lead with a video which is a snapshot of her journey. And after that, we will hear from some of the women who have been inspired by Janice to contribute to Glide and the world. They will introduce women who are breaking cycles and moving on with their own journeys to heal. Let's watch a video now.
I'm a third-generation Japanese American, a Sansei. I was born in 1941. My mother was from Petaluma. My father was a baseball player, and they're both second generation. The Japanese Americans, as well as Japanese immigrants, were sent into concentration camps as a result of World War II. We were all incarcerated in 10 different camps throughout the country. So you can imagine the kind of humiliation that people had suffered. That photograph does remind me of when the women would get together and gossip. They would gather around kind of a makeshift beauty shop. That is when the women would laugh and when they would be able to talk and share with each other. And I think that that was my first sense of the importance of community. My mother and father divorced soon after we were released. She remarried about 2 years after her divorce. I thought he was a very, very nice person. And after they got married, things changed. And I was abused as a child from the age of 8 to about 17 when I left home. There was this value placed on silence. You don't complain, you don't talk about the unpleasant things, you don't talk about things that hurt you, you don't talk about your feelings. So words became very important to me on the page. When I became involved with other women who were part of the writing coalitions, You know, they were speaking my story, and I could see myself in their faces. In the 60s, communities were in motion. The women's movement started, the civil rights movement led by Dr. King, the anti-war movement was in full swing. We were at the point of needing to boil over. It was a time for the revolution to happen. After I graduated UCLA and went into postgraduate work and was teaching school, it was then that I met a friend who introduced me to Glide. I got a part-time job here at Glide. In addition to Cecil, I met a community of young people, and I found my mirrors. Here they were on the margins, and I said, yeah, okay, this is where I want to be. I felt instinctively that this guy, this Cecil Williams, who was taking down the cross, this crazy, radical minister who is tearing up the walls of the church, was gonna fly. He was opening the doors and telling everybody to come in. I mean, the hookers, the pimps, the drug addicts, the hungry. You know, it was a very radical, wonderful, alive time. Cecil and I were working together for a few years. It was through the programs we built from the 60s into the 80s to serve the poor that he and I forged this partnership. These were the people who were my community and his community. They were our people. I think it is in realizing that our visions were very, very similar and very parallel that we forged a partnership. And he perpetually loved me. And we got married in 1982. Cecil sang, and he wore a fuchsia shirt, which totally upstaged everybody, including the bride. We started our recovery program in the 80s that opened the door to my seeing my own need for recovery. My mother broke her silence about the camps, and I believe in some ways that she modeled the power of what breaking your silence can do. So when I did work up the courage to tell my story about the incest, and I saw these women standing up, it was so inspiring for me. When you have the courage to break the silence and tell the truth, then you're saving your own life, but you don't know how many other lives you're touching. It is really being able to take that hurt and turn it into something that is powerful, turn it into something that is productive, turn it into something that really lifts somebody else up. That's the miracle. The miracle is that, just seeing people standing up and saying, yeah, that happened to me, and yes, I'm gonna make it, and yes, let's do something. It's about movement, breaking that silence into action and into community, and making sure that other people benefit from the ability and the courage that you have, that you've taken to tell your story. That's where the hope is. Who I am today is about continuing the journey and my commitment to working with people to provide opportunities for empowerment for them and for them to empower themselves, particularly women and children. People come here like knots, but it is that process of unraveling who you are and revealing who you are, and you become a whole tapestry, a community that is independent, that you're able to, stand in your own color, your own voice, your own experience, and affirm that difference, but at the same time know that you're connected. That is such an empowering and life-saving experience. It is really in doing what is important for the other person that I think one finds one's own power. It isn't just about Jan and what Jan has done at Glide. It's really about the lives that have been touched and the lives that have been changed, where they have taken the opportunity to untie that knot and tie it to a community that says, you know, you are part of the entire fabric. We are together.
Good morning, Clyde. Hi, y'all. There are women who are moving, says Janice Mirkatani in her poem. Our mothers, grandmothers carried us on their shoulders. Strong pioneer women breaking ground, planting, harvesting, marching to vote, to determine our choices, to break glass ceilings, to run our kitchens and our Congress. Tonight we celebrate women who are real voices for change at Glide. There are hundreds of them, generations of women, and we are going to hear from just a few who are moving, who are breaking cycles of despair and poverty, a new generation of women. The Firth Family Foundation is proud of its 40 years of support of the children's programs at Glide. And I am especially proud tonight to celebrate the success of Glide and of Jan, who as mentor and muse and mom to these young women has helped them succeed in reaching their goals and finding their voices. There is a young woman who is moving through her life on the college campus. She came to the Glide Children's Programs at the age of 2. She is writing for her life. Let's give a warm welcome to Lucinda Ray.
Hi. I grew up in this neighborhood and have been going to Glide since 2 years old at the youth program. My father died when I was 11, and that made my mom get into drugs. And so I came to Glide every day and on weekends because my house felt like a crack house. When I was 14, my mom died, and Glide made sure I was taken care of. Jan recognized me as a poet and encouraged me to write more and perform on stage. Poetry was my therapy. Having that really helped me come to grips with my life. I felt empowered. Being able to tell my story tonight for Jan's 40th is a prime example of how she celebrates life by celebrating empowerment. I want to spread that spirit and give back by becoming a social worker and empowering children and families. This is a little tribute to Glide that I wrote. Glide has wrapped its arms around me without question of who I am or what I've got or what I believe in. Glide gave me food, shelter, camp, tutors, field trips, holidays, dancing, music, poetry, therapy, family. Glide believed in me, accepted my mistakes with open arms. Glide showed me options, opportunity, resources, alternatives, and that we shall overcome. Glide taught me to be empathetic, just, giving, righteous, and advocate. And Glide was there when I figured out who I was, and I learned to be proud of it. Glide is the ideal community. Thank you, Jan, for helping us break our silences through poetry and creative arts programs.
Thank you, Lucinda. There is a young woman who is part of the new generation of children in the youth programs at Glide. She resides in the Glide Cecil Williams permanent residence and has been part of the children's program since she was 5 years old. She is speaking out for her life. Please welcome the wonderful Erica Shepard.
My name is Erica, and I've been coming to Glide for 14 years. I remember playing upstairs. My mother was downstairs attending recovery circles. I couldn't understand why she would go to those so-called boring meetings back then, but now I know that those boring meetings saved her life. Every day I walk home through a drug-infested community. Now, I'm not a judgmental person. I know that people use drugs for all types of reasons, and a lot of people have to experience the disease of addiction to figure out who they are and how to become successful. But I'm not one of them. Because of Glide, I can safely skip that step. My family has had a real home at Cecil Williams Glide Community Housing since 1999, and my mother is now leading the same recovery circles she used to attend for strength. And that's what I want to do, give back to the community that has given me so much. As a young woman, it's not easy because there are so many obstacles and there is drama everywhere. But I wouldn't change these obstacles that try to keep me from moving forward. I would keep them because they make me who I am. And my Glide family is there with strength every step of the way. When my family was struggling, Glide was a shoulder to lean on. Glide is and always has been my breath of life. I want to give a special thanks to Janice Mirikatani for making a place where I can learn that my voice does matter. Thank you.
Thank you to Erica and Lucinda, and to our friend Jan, who reminds us that miracles can happen when the silence is broken and all is made visible. We love you, Jan.
There are women who are moving, Janice Mirikatani says in her poem. Women are dancing to a language all understand, from our shelters and communities where violence threatens each day, from the dangers that face our young people and the inequities that threaten education. There are women who are dancing to their own music, educating themselves without fear, building their lives. Youth Build Scholars is a program that helps young people get into college, provides counseling and financial help. Youth Build Scholars has a spokeswoman, She is a woman who is learning with passion. Her name is Josefina Campos.
Good evening to all of you. My name is Josefina Campos, and I'm going to tell you about a little bit of my story. When I came to Youth Build Scholar, I was living on my own. And it's really hard being alone because I haven't seen my mother in 7 years. She's in another country. She's in El Salvador. And I really missed her so much. And I want you tonight to do me a favor, that if your mother is here today, I want you to give her a big hug. And I want you to tell her that you love her so much. But I want you to really do this. And I have learned that I have the support of Glide, and even though it's not like having my mother with me, I still think I'm growing stronger. And I'm very motivated to finish my college in the field of technology and science. And I want to do that for me and for my mother. I want her to be proud of me. Some of the difficulties that we all face as a young people is peer pressure. People are trying to convince me to do drugs, but I know I'm never going to do drugs. I'm going to continue my education and get good grades and finish what I've been doing and what I want to be in the future. And if my voice can reach anyone else, I want them to know about this program, Youth Build Scholar and Glide. I want to thank Irene Schooley and all of you for supporting us. And I want to thank Jane for all this year that she has believed in young people. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Josefina. Women are moving. Youth Build helps young people build their lives, a program that trains youth in construction skills, pays them, and works with unions so that they might have access to living wage jobs. Over 100 youths have completed the program in the past 2 years. One woman in the program is building for her life. May I present Raisha Calloway.
Hello, my name is Raisha Calloway. Before I came to Glide, I was homeless, down, and always depressed. I stayed with my grandmother and my aunt. I had my first son that was taken away from me. He stays in Mississippi. I can see him, but I now have the opportunity to go back to school. Glide helped me get back to school, build focus and structure to get my life back together. I'm now earning my high school diploma and learning how to be a carpenter. I know I will make it, get my skills and knowledge and grow, become a real leader. I will get my son back. I hope that one day that I will own my own nonprofit business to be able to inspire others who've been separated from their family and children. I want to thank everybody at Glide who've helped me. I want to thank Jan for giving us the programs to make me such a successful person and to be able to make me an honest living wage. I want to be able to take the I can't out of some people's lives because they've been told they can't. We can and we will.
Claudia Interiano is changing for her life. Claudia?
Hello, I'm Claudia. Before I came to Glide, I used to sell drugs and rob people to pay my rent every month. I don't mind telling you guys this because I'm a completely different person now. Completely different. I'm 10 times more responsible. I don't go out partying on the weeknights because I know I have to wake up early every morning and go to Treasure Island to clock in. I want to learn carpentry skills so I can be a journeywoman and make a better living for me. And I also have dreams of going to cosmetology school and having my own hair salon one day. I want to be able to give back to my community. I want to work with young women, especially young women who have children. And I want them to know that there's resources out there for them to take better care of their children and have a brighter future for their kids. And I want to thank Glide for giving me this opportunity. I want to thank Jan and Cecil. I want to thank my Youth Build staff. And thank you.
Thank you, ladies, for sharing your stories and doing it so well. As a representative of the Scully Family Foundation, I am thrilled and honored to be here tonight to celebrate Jan Miracatani's 40 years at Glide. Her zest for life, her spunk, her sparkle, her beauty, her vitality, her energy, her humor, her determination, her drive, her dedication to Cecil and to Glide have made her an inspiration for all of us here tonight, and most especially for all those who she has so touched with her kindness, her love, and her wisdom. Lord God, thank you for sending us Janice Miracatani.
There are women who are moving, and in her Bad Woman poem, Janice Miracatani says, they're finger popping, hip shaking, big laugh, wide mouth, smart talking women, soft talking women, tangerine lipstick queens. There are women who are moving out of domestic violence, drugs, and jails. They are in women's circles of recovery and resistance and resilience and powers. There are women in the Glide Wells Fargo Women's Resource Center, a safe space where women can gain recovery, a respite from the perils of the street. Here, women can break through the cycles of violence and gain back their self-esteem. Diana Moore is a woman who is loving for her life.
Good evening. My name is Diana. It is an honor and a pleasure to tell my story of the unconditional love and support of Glide. I came to Glide in 1997, hopeless, homeless, jobless, addicted to drugs, a dual-diagnosed 6-year-old son who was angry, frustrated, receiving poor grades in school with a lack of understanding from his teachers. Every Sunday, I would stand across the street and listen to the Glide Ensemble. When I got the courage to come in, the real love and support began. We received assistance from several of Glide's programs: the Meals Program, the Drop-In Center, the Women's Group, the Children's and Family Programs, just to name a few. They helped me turn my life around. I decided to go back to school because Glide helped me believe in myself. Today, my son is in the pre-law program at his high school. He has also won the city championship in high school wrestling. I have received my bachelor's degree in business. And on top of all that, I have been clean for 10 years. I am a strong woman who can stand proud and tall. I am a strong woman who has been through it all. I am a strong woman that can now say yes. Because of my life now, I want nothing but the best. Thank you, Jan, for everything.
Thank you, Diana. And there are women who create ripples out of the circle of their recovery. A ripple is when you touch one, and then it touches others. And I don't know how many of you ever did rocks. You know, you throw the rocks on the water. Y'all don't know about that. But anyway, that's a southern thing, where you throw the rocks on the water and you get the ripples. Anyway, that's okay. Janine Sylvia Reed is giving voice to the truth of her life. So please welcome Janine.
I came to Glide 20 years ago out of despair. I was using drugs, but Glide cracked my denial by giving me such an abundance of love. I was at Glide when recovery programs evolved into the extended family model for African Americans, and Jan spoke out about her experience with incest and violence relationships. It gave a whole other dimension to the meaning of recovery. I am breaking my silence right now as a battered woman in recovery, and I need to say to you tonight, when women are battered, they are always blamed for it. If a woman tells you she's being abused, don't judge her. Ask her how you can help. When people judge the battered woman, she gets driven into silence and sometimes death. I'm so glad there is a women's center at Glide. Women need a safe place to be able to recover, where we can talk about our pain and sense of worthlessness. Going into recovery changed my life. Recovery made me hopeful. I knew I wasn't alone. At Glide, I'm around such rich diversity, and I can see that anything is possible. It's okay to be human and vulnerable. I was like an onion being peeled because no one exploited me here, and I felt safe. Keep revealing my layers and being revealed. I am now a certified recovery counselor, and I have counseled hundreds of addicts. I've strived to be a better person, help others to be in recovery. Everyone needs recovery. I want to thank you for being here. Thank you, Wells Fargo, for Jan and for Jam for the recovery programs that give voice and pride to so many women. Thank you, Jan. For speaking out your secrets and for creating programs that have given so many women our voice, strength, and pride. Thank you.
Thank you, Janine. And I'm so proud of Janine. Okay, we'll leave it at that. But on behalf of Wells Fargo, I'm so proud to be here, to be a part of this. And for me, it is so personal to see these ladies and to see Glide. I've been coming to Glide for a long time. But I would say to you, there's a song that we all know about, and it's called Amazing Grace. And when you come to Glide, Glide is about God's amazing grace in America, where there is no one person, there is no one thing. It is about all of us. And I will say to you, I am so happy that Glide and these ladies dare to dream a great dream. Thank you so much.
Good evening. How's everyone doing? So my name is Amy Errett, and I have the profound honor to chair the Glide Board. First of all, I'd like you all to give yourself a round of applause. It's a sellout tonight at 1,300 people in this room. And to Janice, 1,300 people came out tonight because we love you. Profoundly love you, Janice. I'm gonna bring up to the stage a man who needs absolutely no introduction. 44 years, took the cross down, changed everything in the world about what anybody ever thought about organized religion. This couple are two of the most amazing people in the world, and the combination is just phenomenal. Cecil is a partner to Jan, and by the way, also her husband of 28 years. But more than that, I believe that the city and county of San Francisco and the world has never been the same when Cecil Williams walked into the corner of Taylor and Ellis and blessed us with his presence. Please welcome the Reverend Cecil Williams.
I met this woman, this beautiful woman, this woman who stood in water knee-deep almost, putting together a book so that she could sell some of the pages from that book of poetry. And her friends also were there, night after night after night, putting together pages in a book. And they not only did one book, they did 2 books, they did 3 books, and they kept saying to me, we're going to overcome, you watch, people are going to take on this pretty soon. It's a way of being a messenger. That's who she has been. That's who she is. She is a messenger, no doubt about it. She's a messenger because she is innocent. I have seen her cover her mouth like this for years. And then one day I saw her when she came out of a demonstration that we had been involved in, and she had taken her hand from her mouth, and it's never been up before her mouth since then. She let it go. And she talks all kinds of talk. Even in her sleep, she talks that talk. And she lets you know that I am present, I am here, and what really occurs in our relationship is that first and foremost, we don't hold back. This may surprise a lot of folks. You know, they, oh, you're such a nice, sweet couple. I'm sorry. No, we tell each other what we got to say to each other. We let each other know how much we love each of us because we say it, we get it over, and we get ready for the next one. But what a glorious time, because you see, we are making history. We are really making history. And this woman, this awful woman, with all of her great wisdom and interest and concern, and she never lets anything get by. She's almost a perfectionist. May I bring to you at this time someone that keeps us all on our tiptoes. But she's a lovely woman, and I love her. I don't love her to death. I love her to life. May I bring to you Janice Mercatani.
Cecil didn't tell you that I have laryngitis. I've had it for 2 days. And I told him that God had a twisted sense of humor. Because on this occasion, after 40 damn years, we're going to celebrate the voices of women. And I lose mine. But I believe that she, in her infinite wisdom, is giving me a message to keep it short, because you all are tired and want to go home. And you've heard it all. I cannot say more. I am so, I don't know, overwhelmed. I don't know what to say. I see these pictures, I see these photographs. I did not know these were going to be up here, okay? Really, really honestly, I did not know. I am a Japanese American woman. I am extremely by this stuff. So it is really hard for me. It is really hard for me. But all I want to say is, and I thought that Dr. Angelou, who called us just recently, and I want to thank her. Wasn't she magnificent? She called Cecil and me recently for her radio show that she hosts and asked us about romance. We talked about romance, and she asked, well, does romance really have to involve sex? And I said, I think sex is great, especially with my romantic partner. But I really think that romance is what we have had, Cecil and I have had, with each other and with Glide for over 40 years. If romance is really about anticipation and excitement and having passion, I'm talking about the kind of passion that is fueled by mutual creativity and inspiration, where we're inspired by the other, wanting to go where they are, in the hope that each day something new will happen, and change is constant. I'm talking about romance that is not just love for the other, but love of oneself. The struggle and the sweat and the tears that make you stand in your own fear and face yourself, understanding that you cannot heal anyone else if you don't first heal yourself. And this one has been so difficult for me, that if you allow your light to shine, if you truly give yourself the power to allow it to shine, that it helps others to shine their light. That has been my journey for 40 years. This romance, this love affair with this community called Glide, and it has not been easy. Cecil and I have danced together for 40 years to create a place where people could be beloved. And with our different rhythms and our different styles, it has not been easy. We've struggled mightily over who follows and who leads. And guess what? Guess what? We discovered that it's about everyone being inspired to lead, because love struggles for what is real and for what is authentic. Love ignites our tongues and our hearts with joy and drives us to find the justice in our actions. And finally, love accepts us for who we really are. So these 40 years have been a gift, and I thank you. I thank you who come this evening to pay tribute to the women who are making such a difference in the world. Women are going to turn this world upside down. I thank you, this Glide community, for giving me this gift, this opportunity to create and to be able to give back. I thank all of my friends out there who have supported me, who have nurtured me, who have walked with me through thick, through thin, through everything, through the worst and through the best. I thank you for holding me and sustaining me. I thank you, my families, the Yonahiros, the Williams, my daughter Tian, for loving me in spite of who I am. And I have to say that my brother is very courageous, because he has stood with me in the most difficult disclosures, in the most difficult truths of our lives. And I believe that that is the hope, when we have the courage to stand with one another in the truth of our lives, and to be able to, in spite of everything, forgive, and to love each other, no matter what. I've broken down several times tonight, and the first was when the young women from our programs came up to me and said, "Can I take a picture with you?" And it was so wonderful to know that somehow we have made a difference. All of us have made a difference. And I want to thank Amy and the Glide Board for your enormous wisdom and support, for you going beyond what is sensible to what is courageous in your hearts, to know that it takes much more than just infrastructure and sound, stable structural building. And building from our hearts and our compassion, and knowing that that's what reaches beyond all barriers, is our heart, our feeling, our ability to know one another, because we're all human. And I thank you for that belief, for your own compassion in doing that. Thank you, Glide Board. And thank you especially to the Glide staff who every day go out there and do the hard work and do the work and do the changing and do the every day. Glide staff, thank you. And thank you to the new leadership. Willis Selden, thank God you are here. Donald Guest, thank God you are here. Thank you for your courage to be willing to take Glide into the new era of new leadership. And of course, I have to thank my husband, Cecil Williams, who has saved me and saved my life every day. And I don't mean save in the hallelujah thing. You know what I mean? I mean that he has accepted me, believed me, listened to me, put up with me, tolerated me, and has the strength to struggle with me, because I am so tenacious in my craziness. I am so tenacious about this thing called equal ground. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? It's equal ground. I am so tenacious about that, and I don't give up, I don't relent, and he is strong enough to stand with me toe to toe. I love him. He has loved me to life, truly. Thank you, my dear. Thank you, my darling. Thank you, my love. And thank you to this incredible Glide Ensemble and all of you who have made this evening possible. Thank you so much. Thank you for your recognition, your tribute. I love you. I love you. Thank you.
Just